when we start to analyze the thing that in The Vendor of Sweets, which was written by the most eminent writer of the Indian soil, K.Narayan, we can understand that this novel is full about the conflict between the two generations, which occurs due to the conflict between traditional and modernity and the conflict between the two culture. And in R.K. Narayanan, which was published in 1967, the conflict between tradition and modernity is a central theme of the novel. The story follows the life of the Jehan, who is a sweet venturer living in the small village, leading a simple life, following the Gandhian principle. And there's another protagonist in the story as well, whose name is Mali, who's a apple of the Jehan's eyes, and who is something different, opposite from the Jehan's thoughts, wants to follow the modern life and don't want to follow the footprints of his father. The conflict between tradition and modernity is depicted through the constructing personalities and their different beliefs about their life in this novel. Jagan represents the traditional value, whereas he always respect Indian cultures and customs and the Gandhian principle. Um, the Mari proves opposite. He wants to uh, be free and he wants to start a business and he wants to eat the foods which in America, and he wants to go to America, um, um, make friends with many abroad peoples. On the other hand, he also like to get Western influence, and he wants to educate his mind with the Western ideas and dreams, and he wants to start a something modern business as well. Here we can understand that Mali comes as a person who wants to break free from traditional conditions in his uh, traditional conditions of his father and live a strange life in that town. The clash between two generations are evident uh, by when we analyze the education method, we can understand that Jahan believes that studying and getting BA and getting degree is the it's an education which they want to then to catch up, and they think that Jahan thinks that uh, by getting BA or degree, it's a high position in that city, and it's a thing which uh, he wants to, and which he wants to get his son as well. But Mali proves opposite. He don't want to study, and he don't want the traditional education system. He thinks that only studying and reading the books is useless, and he wants to start something new and free himself from that silly traditional values. Mm, Mali wants to study more. Mali wants to study in America about story writing. But when the cousin tells his plan, we can understand that the education level of the Jahan. He thinks that writer who is working in the company, but and it's evident that the in Jahan's mind, writer means who is working in the East Indian Company. But after the explanation of the cousin, even though the Jahan understands about the value of the writer, he thinks that getting BA and studying, getting degree in that Malgudi is the high position, and it creates the big conflict between the uh, two generations. And career path, when we understand the career analyze the career path, we can understand that the Jahan believes in a simple life, which was which was shaped through many simple customs. But Marley aspires to become a modern man who don't wants to follow the traditional path. Even in this uh, uh, even in the novel we can understand that the Jahan wore jippa, loose jippa and dhoti as his uh, as his everyday clothes. But when the Jahan describes the Mali's appearance in the town, we can understand that he wore colorful, not only Mali, but also the Mali's friends also wore colorful t-shirts and colorful trousers, tight trousers, and speaking about the film stars and cricket and entertainment shows. It's something um, uh, it's something different which creates the conflict as Jahan wants to live a simple life, whereas the Mal is focusing to live a modern life, and the young generation also like Mali, wanting to live live a modern life. And it also creates the conflict. When we look at the lifestyle of them, we can understand that Jahan is a strict fellow, as I told you earlier. Jahan is a strict follower of the Gandhi who do everything, every day-to-day activity after considering the Bhagavad Gita, and he thinks that Bhagavad Gita is a book which is very holy, and it was auspicious for him. But when we look at the lifestyle and the life purpose of the Mali, we can understand the Mali is more open and exposing new ideas and experiences. He seems as he didn't he doesn't believe these things, and he doesn't follow Gandhian principles. He only lives his life with his views, whereas the father Jahan wants to live the life which was created, which was created by the Gandhi, which was created by Gandhi. And when we look at the relationship values, we can understand that the Jahan has a traditional view of marriage and the relationships. He wants to keep the relationship with the traditional values, and whereas the Mali is something different or something opposite from Jahan, as he proves that as he as he marry a cultural hybrid Grace. We all know that in the latter part of the story, we come to know that they didn't marry and they live a life which is living together system. But it's something very strange and disgusting for Jahan, as he's very traditional follower, and he reminds that he reminds us in this novel that when he was getting the marriage age, with the parents' blessing, he married Ambika. But here we can understand that Mali's marriage life is full opposite, as Mali didn't consider his father about his marriage, or he didn't tell his father about Grace. Mm, he bring Grace suddenly and told father he's my wife, and it shocked Jahan, as he doesn't accept this thing from Mali. And in the latter part, we can understand that Jahan comes to know that Mali and Grace hasn't haven't married yet, and they want to leave, which portrays the Western method of living together, which is disgusting for our people. And throughout this novel, by constructing many ideas about the traditional and modernity, traditional modernity, writer wants to emphasizes these things. And language and communication, when we look at the language and communication, here language is an essential except for our culture, But here we can understand that after coming from the America, Mali mostly speaks in English, and when he speaks to Grace, he also speaks in English, and when he and it's something creates the conflict as a Jahan who is a traditional follower. Who always accepts his son to follow the tradition, but here Mali gives the shock to their father. And when we analyze the technological field, we can understand that the traditional and modernity give the very big impacts in that situation. Mm, we can understand that when the Johan wants to write the book, he leave it to the truth printing shop for many years. But when Mali comes, he thinks that writing a book and publishing it is very big process. So we have to invent the story writing machine in this country and sell it. Here we can understand the different thoughts of the two generations. And the old generation think that writing in the own hand and publishing it is a very valuable thing, whereas the young generation think that when we do it in machines we can easy our works, and it's very efficient method of story writing. And in a small day, in some days we can publish many books, which creates the conflict. um, Here the exposure of the technology can create conflicts, as some views it as a positive accept of progress, while others see it as a threatening of the culture and thing. And when we understand the diet, when we analyze the diet system of them, we can understand that Jahan eats very simple things, and Jahan gives up salt and sugar. Instead of sugar, Jahan takes honey and ground wheat, whereas Mali is always eats in canteen. And in the in one chapter, um, Jagan said that Mali, cousin said that Mali ate in the Anand Bhavan shop, and that in that situation, Jagan is worrying that the Anand Bhavan shop always cheat, and they use they didn't use pure coconut oil, which portrays that eating in the home food is very best. But when even though the father Jahan understand these things and live a very simple lifestyle with a simple diet system, Mali as a son didn't understand because of the generational gap. He eats food in school, college canteen in Anand Bhavan shop. And after coming from America, he gave up the food which is in Malgudi and which is in house. He eats the foods which are packed in small tins, and it portrays their different views, different preference in food items. And moreover, so we can understand that emphasizing these things in his novel, K.Narayan portrays the very big theme as the communication, uh, very big theme as the traditional and modernity and the conflict between two cultures, as he exposes the cultural hybrid Grace, who is half American and half Korean girl, in this amazing novel.
Good morning, everyone. Today I am going to present you about the Indian novel Vendor of Says, which was written by the reputed poet R.K. Narayan. Here in this poem, as it is written under the post-colonialism period, here the K.Narayan mainly focuses on the cultural difference and how Indian culture is affected due to the changes which occurred after the colonialism. As far as the changes in cultural behaviors and the life patterns of the people is concerned, the Arkan Narayan mainly focuses on two characters, namely Jahan and Mali, whose relationship is seen to be father and son. Here, the main theme of this novel seemed to be traditional versus modernity, as it is symbolized through the relationship between Mali and Jagan is clearly portrayed throughout their characters and food items and the educational patterns and their likes and in their lifestyle in their houses and how they are reacting to the um, traditions and modernity are clearly reflected in this novel when Ross says in a deep way. Firstly, when we took the character of Jagan, Jagan is a ardent Hindu follower and a traditionalist who always believe in Gandhian theories and he seemed to be always reading the book called Bhagavad Gita, which is uh, the seem to be contain the uh, aspects of traditionalism of a ardent Hindu follower, such as the sins which we do not eat cows. For an example, in there's one chapter we can find that the Mali has who is seem to be representing the modernity uh, when he went abroad America. He uh, wrote a letter to Japan where he mentioned that I have started eating beef, and why don't you start eating beef? This will reduce the useless cattle in the country. So, as it is mentioned, Jagan immediately want to write in the letter that it is a deadly science in Bhagavad Gita. So, we should know that Bhagavad Gita is always in his hand, and he reads forever in even in the shop while managing is when he was rest in the house, he also reads Bhagavad Gita. So, as a when we look at the character of Jagan, is a traditionalist and who represents the tradition, and his son Mali, who totally indifferent to him and who represents the modernity as well. Uh, as far as in the first chapter, we can know the clearly know the behavior patterns and the lifestyle of the Jahan as he first goes to the shop as he is a vendor of sweets. He usually goes to the shop early in the morning. He doesn't use any vehicles, even though he was rich, because he wants that walking is a uh, good habit and it will make man healthy. And moreover, he usually always wears jibba and dhoti, which is their cultural clothes, so that even more he seem to be ardent traditionalist as he doesn't wear uh, slippers by killing an animal. He thinks that it is also a sin, and he wants deadly or naturally dead animals' skin in order to wear his shoes and slippers. So that even though he is an ardent Hindu follower, we know that after the colonialism, these actions of Jahan seem to be very rude and uh, improper or not comfortable enough to applicable not applicable enough to the modern society, because people have changed after the colonialism, and their life patterns are changed, and people doesn't want to always follow the traditions in that time period. But Jagan, who seemed to be contradict to the society, he seemed to be, that's why he always seemed to be lonely and detached from the society. You can witness this in the whole uh, novel of Vendor. Moreover, he believes in gods as he uh, praised the goddess Lakshmi, who is the goddess of wealth. And it is very ironic that Jagan is also a selfish character, also, or a money-minded person, because uh, as we know that the Lakshmi is a goddess of wealth, he only prays him early in the morning, other than other gods. So he is a greedy person, which moreover, uh, in the many part of this novel, we can also find this trends in deeper way. As I already mentioned in the first chapter, the Jagan's character is clearly revealed. In contradictory, when we focuses on the modernity, the Jagan's son Mali is the main character, second main character in the novel, as he seemed to be the villainous character who doesn't care about his father's advices and their kindness towards him after the death of Ambika, who's Mali's mother. Um, this is first started when Jagan started to cook for him and Mali refused it. He First Mali asked, "Why don't you engage a cook?" It is indicates that Mali doesn't uh, want to eat homemade food or natural food. Usually, homemade foods are natural, and Jagan also knows that. But Mali, who seemed to be the younger child, and he thinks that the father's actions always harms others people, and we should not follow him because of him our mother have died. That mentality is in Mali, so that he doesn't believe in Jagan. So he replied as, "We have a college canteen and I can manage, I can take care of myself." So um, here also the theme of traditional versus modernity is conveyed in the first way in the second chapter. And moreover, in many ways, such as even in the food, as I already mentioned, if there is the conflict started as the first, and then Mali always wearing a t-shirt and a trousers and always use a bicycle. As I already mentioned, Jagan in contradictory uses jippa and dhoti, which is the traditional way of clothing, and he walks far away in the village of Malpudi, and but Mali always cycles all the way to home and his school. And even when we concerned about the education, Mali suddenly says that I cannot study more. I don't find it very interesting in it. But Jahan, when we sees the flashback of Jagan, his thing says that he even studied after his marriage to Ambika, so that we can identify that the Jagan gives more importance to his studies. Even though he didn't got a degree in BA, so that he thinks that his son will get a degree and give us honor to us. But these hopes are uh, dreams scatters due to the Mali's decisions, as he regret to go to school and college, so that the Mali is very connected to the modern traditions, and uh, Jagan always follows the orders of his father vehemently, and he highly respected his parents and elders. And he did not go against them, as he when we concern about his marriage also, he doesn't uh, he follows the order uh, of their parents and marries a girl from a rural area called Ampika. So for that, even when we in contrast sees the Mali's actions, he told Jagan that he is going to study in America, but he had married in America a half Korean and half American girl. It is not applicable to the Indian society as marrying a foreign girl and settle down in India. So that it is also when we see all the aspects of the lifestyle of Jagan and Mali, it is the theme of traditional versus modernity is conveyed um, in a deep way. Uh, when we concern about the um, migration of Mali to America, it without asking any permissions to Jagan, he immediately migrated to America. It is also seem to be contradict to the traditions, as he doesn't follow his parents' order. But as I already mentioned, Jahan, who even follows his father's advices in his marriage also. After that, the Mali, after coming back to India, he came with an idea of a story writing machine. It is also the youth. Even though Jagan is a traditionalist, he is a businessman, well known and professional. Has many experience in managing the as a vendor of sweets. Now, so that Mali asked Jahan to invest in his story writing machine, which seemed to be not applicable to the Indian society, as people are in a poverty-stricken lifestyle. But Mali thinks that everyone should must buy his story writing machine in India. So Jahan knows that it will be in a utter failure in the future. So he refuses to invest in the story writing machine. Here the conflict between Jahan and Mali started, and their communication barrier uh, become stronger and stronger um, by the arguments between them in the house, and even in the outer part of the places when they meet together. But as Grace, who is the unmarried wife of Mali, even though he says at the end she have come to India to be the member of in the company of American company in India, but she doesn't have any work in here, so she's going to America again. So that um, Mali immediately takes decision without thinking deeply, but Jagan says that wife should be with the husband anytime in the uh, life, uh, if the, even though they are um, in any matter. So that Mali immediately says that it is in your times. It is also clearly indicates that Mali is very concerned about modernity, and he refuses traditionalism in a harsh manner, and he even uses harsh words to mocks at Jagan about the traditional wisdom and how he believes. And even when Jagan gives his vendor of his shop to Mali, he refuses. And I am not uh, interested in doing, and it is not like vending sweets at your shop. So these words immediately attacks Jagans, who thinks that his shop is wholly owned to his son after him. But due to these conflicts and arguments between Mali and Jahan, these lead path to Jahan to a spiritual lifestyle. And as a traditionalist, a person should have gone into the spiritual lifestyle after by giving the world to the younger generation, new generation, and leading to a spiritual and peaceful lifestyle, so that by the help of the bearded man, um, Jahan started to be a started to live his spiritual life, and so that he lastly asked Mali to take his shop, but he refuses. And in addition, Mali, who doesn't cares about anyone, at last he got addicted to alcohol and drugs, and he was in a prison. As Natraj, as the cousin mentioned, Jagan immediately says that he must have in the prison for few days, then he will learn all about that. So here we can know that the lifestyle of Jahan and Mali is affected due to their behaviors towards and the attitudes towards tradition and modernity. As it is contrast, it is ended up in a tragic way, as Jahan leaving the home and Mali is in the prison. So that here the theme of tradition and modernity is contrast in a deep way, with more examples, and in many ways such as